you know, my son just graduated. Oh, hey, we're on. I'm over here just talking.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You want to put on the headset?
No, you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Unless you're going to sing us a song.
You probably don't want that.
We do. What up, everybody? It's your girl, Melissa. Woo woo, y'all. It is Friday afternoon, and I got the one and only Sparta King in the house. Come on, somebody. I have Jeff Cisneros with me today. Super excited to have you on. It is hot.
It is. Hot. It's like 90 degrees outside, but I like it better than the snow.
And it's probably like 100 degrees in here. The studio always gets hot, too.
Wearing a black shirt, so I was like just wondering if it was me or not.
No, it's hot. That's why I was like, I'm going to leave the door kind of cracked because it's hot in here. And so, y'all, thanks for tuning in. If you are on the live, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that share button, so we can get out with everybody and share what's going on today. And as always, you know, we always put your comments and everything in here. We answer them. So if you have questions, anything, we can do that for you. And we're going to get this together. Comments. Oh. I don't know how to turn that. So hey Nicholas, hey Mary. So Jeff, you know, you're not a stranger to the studio, but you might be new to some of our listeners, our audience. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Where do I begin? I'm just a ball of chaos. You know, I've just been a lifelong entrepreneur, as you know, since I was 18 years old. So like I always joke and tell everybody it's because I'm unemployable at this point. I don't have any other options. I had to work for myself. So, you know, the Sparta Brands has grown to 8 different companies now, so we have our hands full. It started with Sparta Sports and Entertainment, you know, the MMA Fight League, and from there it's just kind of gone from one thing to another to another to another. So, you know, we have Sparta Media Group, the digital ad agency. We build a lot of video content and commercials in the automotive industry, and that has, like, you know, sprung more new businesses. So we do. We also have Sparta Auto 360, where we customize vehicles for the dealerships before they sell them, and then we shoot the video. And so we have our hands full right now. So just basically a lifelong dream chaser that. I've experienced epic failures and massive success, but that's part of you know, that's part of the journey for sure. A lot of ups and downs.
Definitely. And I've seen you grow like majorly from when I met you. Like I've known you for a few years, but they've been growing forever. But from what I've seen, and you know, especially like all the commercials, all the media stuff that you guys are doing, it's fantastic. Like I love it. I see everything. If you haven't checked it out, you'll probably see it on some of the commercials for cars. Some local businesses. I don't want to say the wrong ones, but I know there's a few of them.
Yeah, so it's exciting for us because in the automotive we've expanded nationally, so we're like flying out to new states and we're doing, you know, all their video content as well, and I love it. I've been, since I was a little boy, I've always loved cars and being around cars, so it just kind of fit right in, you know, the synergy fit into everything else we're doing. And then we take the ads and we have this platform in Sparta with the fights and the concerts to run the advertising on, so it was a good fit.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, you've been doing Sparta for a while now, and you know, one of the things I wanted to bring up, because you have AVM coming up.
Yes.
And it's such a tradition with Sparta. And so tell us about AVM coming up.
Yeah, so AVM stood for Army versus Marines, and then it kind of grew into, you know, AVM Battle, the military forces, all of them. You know, growing up, my father was a Vietnam veteran, and we had a very distressed relationship. We didn't really have one as I got older, and it kind of left a hole in my heart, and I wanted to be able to, I kind of wanted to investigate a little bit as to why my dad was the way that he was. You know, he was in Vietnam at 18 years old. He went through a lot there, and when you're a young kid, you don't understand those things. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to understand and have more gratitude for maybe what he went through. So 12 years ago, we started the Army versus Marines project that grew into AVM, and it happens once a year, and it's so exciting. We get Army veterans and active duty and even just regular fighters that want to fight in honor of somebody that served in their family. And we put on these epic fights, and we always honor 4 to 5 local wounded heroes, and then we choose an organization to raise money for that year to donate to. And this year is very special to me. It's dedicated to a good friend of mine, Brian Shinnington, who is a member of the United States Army, and unfortunately he passed away earlier this year. So we're raising money and we're going to donate it to his son and daughter.
Nice. And so, you know, the AVM fights that you can go to and you raise money for, but can they, you know, donate money outside of being there at the actual
Yeah,
fights?
absolutely.
Okay.
So like on our website, spartase.com, we'll put up a direct link to the 501c that we're operating it through for that night.
Okay, and as you guys know, you know, after the lives, I always update everything with all the links where you can get connected with Jeff, with Sparta Media, all their websites, everything, so then you can get in contact, buy tickets for the fights. You actually have a concert coming up
Yeah.
as well, so it's going to be a huge weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited. For years, I've been wanting to do concerts followed by the fights the next night. So
Yeah.
we're doing Uncle Cracker on Friday night in Wyoming, and then followed by Saturday, June 26th, the Army versus Marines fight. So I'm excited about it. And then in August, on August 20th or 19th, we're doing a big country concert. And then on Saturday night, we're doing the Bare Knuckle Combat Spectacular. That's going to feature all the bare knuckle sports.
Oh, nice. And so, bare knuckles, that's been a thing now.
Yeah.
And so, I was there for the first one. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, guys. I'm like, these people are crazy. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the oldest forms of combat sports, bare knuckle boxing, and you know we were the first to do bare knuckle MMA, and you saw that crazy fight that was, you know, Michael Santos and Gene Perez. It was a bloodbath. I mean, two warriors, and it was crazy. It got a lot of traction, and the reason we like to do it is because there's a lot of guys that maybe MMA is not their thing, maybe boxing's not their thing, maybe kickboxing's not their thing. The bare knuckle sports is really where they thrive, and you know they have, you know, a lot of talent for it, and they want to do it, so we want to provide that platform for them. And you know, the great state of Wyoming has been amazing for allowing us to go there.
Yeah, so tell us about that. So, you know, the shift from Denver to Wyoming, how has that been?
It's been absolutely amazing. You know, it was crazy because January, February 2020, I think you were at both of those events.
Yeah.
We came out of the gate Friday boxing, Saturday MMA, Friday boxing, Saturday MMA with Steve Messis was doing the boxing for Airtight. And we had huge crowds, we were crushing it, and we'd heard about COVID, but it was like, okay, is this, you know, what's going to happen with it? We didn't really know. Then March came and we shut down, and so we weren't able to do our event in March or you know, AVM that April. Yeah. But by mid-March, we were already talking behind the scenes, and the idea actually was to create a drive-in movie theater fight style. So we would set up the cage with big movie screens, and people would pull up, and they would put the radio inside their car so they could hear it and listen to it live.
Yeah.
And we had a few venues that it was going to work at, and then I talked to Brian Pedersen, who's the commissioner in Wyoming, and he's like, I love the idea, and he's like, but I think we can get you approved with proper precaution with the Attorney General for COVID. So then we relaunched right into it in January, and we ended up still doing 8 shows during COVID with crowd and spectators, and we didn't have one case.
Yeah, and it was amazing. Like, I mean, I was there for one of them, and I was like, wow, this is so awesome to see, just because, you know, it's kind of scary, like, when you're moving from one place where your whole fan base is at and moving outwards. I think there's always that concern is, like, everybody going to be going with or following, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I was excited for the opportunity because I knew it was only an hour drive.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people didn't realize that, and now they realize it, and they, you know, they came out in groves to support us, so I'm very thankful for that. But, you know, for us, like, we'd done shows in Las Vegas, in Washington, New Mexico, in South Dakota, so like I wasn't as worried about it, and I just had a gut feeling it was going to work. It allowed us to completely shift the business to a way we've been trying to go to, and we hadn't. So it allowed us to perfect our pay-per-view platform, the digital platform, and now there's no more consignment tickets. Everything is done online. It's a you know, it's made it a lot easier for everybody that runs on the operation side.
Yes, and especially on the operation sides, because we know how you are.
Yeah, I'm a ball of chaos, unfortunately. So
and they get all the fun tasks, right?
The babysitting Jeff ideas.
Yeah. And so tell us what's new, what's coming up. What is, you know, you got a lot of exciting stuff happening, a lot of new things happening. And so share with us some of the stuff that's going to be going on.
Well, you know, Colorado gave us permission to start going again with the events. And so we've been looking into July and September dates for that. So we're really excited about that. And we just have so much stuff going on right now. It's just, our growth was so tremendous in 2020 with a media company that, you know, it really kind of we were expecting it, but not on that level. And so, we were trying to get everything honed in and organized in the systems. And so, you probably can expect more concert fight duos. Eventually, what I wanted to do was a concert Thursday night, boxing Friday night, MMA Saturday night.
Oh, nice.
So 3-day weekends.
Yeah.
But that's probably going to be summer next year, to do that. But yeah, it just feels good to be, we continue to keep rolling business. We didn't have to let go of one person during COVID, and in fact, we brought more people on.
That's amazing. That's awesome because, a lot of people were struggling during COVID, and it seemed like you guys found your niche and just continued to thrive during COVID.
Well, I've always believed in moments of chaos, like there's great opportunity, but you have to be able to be innovative enough to see what that idea is. And, we created a lot of value at the time. Dealerships were closed down, so people weren't able to go in for the same car buying experience that they were doing. And we had created a platform with these videos and a streaming service for them to be able to showcase these vehicles digitally. And it was a huge home run, thankfully.
Yeah, and so you got Sparta Sports and Entertainment. You have your media group.
Yep.
Name your other stuff. You got a lot of
it. So we have Sparta Auto 360, which is the custom shop. We have Sparta Consulting, which is our consulting company that goes into businesses and we consult for them either on the IT side or on the marketing and sales side. We also have the rebirth of the Sparta brand supplement company, and then I'm really excited because in July we're launching our exotic car company rental. So people will be able to rent a Ferrari or a Lamborghini and also get tickets to the fight and go. And so it kind of ties into my passion for vehicles again and creating the whole experience. And then, we're also now breaking into, the Sparta real estate, in that whole market and, looking at acquiring more and more property. So we have a lot going on. And we also own a new landscape business that we recently just purchased, and we also own a janitorial service, and they all tie to automotive, so we do all the work in the automotive dealerships.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's great. And so how'd you get into landscaping? Where'd that come from?
The opportunity, the funny joke is like, I think it's in my blood.
Yeah.
But it's, I like being in dealerships and having our shop on a dealership, I saw the opportunity and I'm like, who's doing that? We would love an opportunity to bid for the contract. And so that's kind of how it came about.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. And so, we got everything going on. For those of you that are watching, those of you listening on, Jeff you've been here in Colorado for a long time. You're native, correct?
Yep.
And so for those of you that are interested, we're going to be putting all that up and all the information. And so question is, a lot of people knew you were coming on the show today.
Sure.
So they had a lot of questions for you.
Okay.
And one of the questions was, how do younger people that are interested in getting involved with MMA sports into your fighting arena, how would that process work for them, or what would you suggest for them?
Well, I mean, the first thing is to make sure that they train at a legitimate gym, that they have the proper training and skills, and then, have their coach reach out to our matchmaker or fill out a fighter application on our website at spartase.com. But that's the best way of it. And it's crazy because on the fight side, to be honest with you, I have very little involvement from the operations end.
Yeah.
I'm more just marketing and sales and kind of like future marketing opportunities there. I'm more into the automotive side and everything else. But it's, Becca and the rest of the team have done an incredible job. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't hurt my ego a little bit, that they don't really need me to run that business anymore.
They're like, thank you, buddy.
Yes, absolutely.
And Becca, she has a lot to do with behind the scenes. Becca is your wife, for those of you that don't know, and you have amazing 3 little girls.
Yes.
So how is that? Are they there ready for the fights? Are they,
Well, they love the fights. They each got their own little personalities.
Yes.
So our oldest, Rosalind, she's just so smart and just really intelligent and loves books and loves school. She's my entrepreneur for sure. She's very innovative. She comes up with a lot of new ideas, and they have their own little business as well. They make shirts and jewelry and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then Melania, our middle daughter, she's like the athlete. She's very, she's competing in gymnastics at a high level now, and she's just very determined and motivated. And then Penelope, the youngest, she loves to sing and fight. and so she's the mean one. She's the one you gotta watch out for. She loves the fights.
Yes.
All three of them are definitely aware of what we do, but definitely the youngest and the oldest are the most interested.
Yeah.
Melania is just so laser focused on gymnastics that she doesn't really care.
Yeah. So is that like kind of a relief to you? You know, kind of like you kind of get to step into something a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, you don't ever want your kids to be, especially girls, to be like, I'm gonna grow up to be a fighter.
Yeah.
But it's great though. It's great. Like, they still, they've done jujitsu over at Deco MMA, and they want to get back into it as well. COVID kind of hindered that, so they like doing jujitsu and boxing, and I think it's a good, it's a good thing for them to do. I mean, ultimately, we're going to support them no matter what they want to do. But they've all found their little niche and things that they love.
Yeah, and so I gotta ask: are they out there doing the commentator?
Yeah, it's funny. Penelope is definitely like the little ham. She wants to be on video and like make all these videos and stuff. The other two are more like want to be behind the scenes stuff, you know. But Penelope's like, video me, Dad. And she picks up some naughty words sometimes. So she's crazy.
It becomes part of the job.
Yeah. It's part of the job. So, but having three little girls, I mean, I always say it, like the greatest gift of my life,
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if I've been gone for an hour or two, going home and having them scream, "Daddy, Daddy, I love you, I miss you." I was like, that's like the greatest thing ever.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely they're my why, my motivation for creating a better life for them is a huge motivation for me.
And talking about creating a better life for them, what type of legacy do you see leaving, here on this earth, like the impact, especially, you have such an impact and such an influence on everybody that comes in contact with you. You're an inspiration to everybody. You inspire people. I always tell you this when I see you too, like you always make me motivated to want to do more and do better. Yeah. And so what kind of legacy are you looking to leave on this earth?
It's funny because I was talking, we were having this meeting the other day, and we were talking about what still drives you, right? So like I have a lot of friends, and they've hit big home runs in business, and they're done. They just want to enjoy that and everything, and that's just not how my brain operates. And I think mostly because I'm not driven by money, and the financial part of it is awesome, and I want that for my family. But I have never looked back and been like, how much am I going to make doing this? I always ask myself, how much do I love this?
Yeah.
How much can I impact somebody else's life through this? So I want my legacy to be, I want it to be several things, but one, my impact in the community and my impact to my children and in giving back. And, I want to create this huge platform for philanthropy and giving back and helping those that, don't have a lot of help, that can't help themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's always been a big part, as you know, we do a lot of charitable stuff.
Yes.
And what I love about my daughters love that, Melania says she's such a giver. Like last year for her birthday, she said she didn't want nothing for her birthday. She wanted it to go to a little kid to get new shoes for school, because her birthday's in August. Yeah. And so giving is definitely in their heart. So my legacy, I want people when I'm gone to look back and be like, wow, he really impacted people's lives in the community. And I always think it's important too, because the way we grew up, we didn't really have much. And as an entrepreneur himself, that changed my life, gave me a new pair of shoes when I was a young boy, and it impacted my life and changed my life. You know, and growing up, I was angry and bitter, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I did a lot of things that weren't good. But correcting my behavior over time and giving back has been a great healer for me.
Yeah, and you give a lot back, and so one of the things that I know you do is for Christmas time.
Yes, my favorite.
And Christmas is huge.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot. So tell us about the community aspect of it. You know, so I don't want to give any wrong information.
No, sure.
But yeah.
So yeah, we we've been donating for many years, and probably about 5 years ago, what we do is we just get the cash and donate it directly to the person. Which for any entrepreneurs out there, don't do that. It's a huge no-no. And we had given the cash to somebody at Army versus Marines event, and they got in a car accident because they were drinking, and it led to a lot of problems. So in 2019, we created the Sparta Foundation, and we don't publicly put it out there to take donations because we're our own biggest donor with our other businesses. Yeah. We just do it so that we can do it legally. So what we do is, every year for the school, we take nominated children, and they get $150 to $200 to buy any pair of shoes or clothes that they want. Now, what we do is I just take email nominations, and I think what's great about our program, there's not all this red tape. I don't need to see financial documents. I don't need to see anything. I trust my gut and my heart, and that's how we select them. So basically, we select everybody.
Yeah.
And honestly, over the the 10 years that we've done this, have we been taken advantage of? I'm sure on some level, but that's not up for me to I don't know what those people are going through in their life at the time.
Yeah.
So we just want to create a platform that eases the pain for these people or the struggle. You know, life's not about the material things, but I believe every little kid, at least once in their life, deserves an opportunity to have a pair of shoes that they want.
Yeah.
You know?
And you have made such a huge impact in that. And I've seen it in every August you do it.
Yep.
And it's like a shoe drive. They get to go to the mall and stuff like that. And just seeing some of these kids' faces, like just the smile on their face. And like you said, it's not material things a lot of times, but like as a younger kid, like that's like the world to you,
For sure. Well, it's crazy because they almost are like, are you sure I could have any pair of shoes? Like they don't believe it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's almost too good to be true. Like what's the catch? And I always tell them the catch is someday when you grow up and you're successful, you do this for somebody else. And that was kind of the thing for me. So we try to do it for $150 to $200, but of course, all kids came wanting Jordans this year, and they were like $230 a pair. So I'm like, all right, yeah, go ahead, just do it,
You're like, yes. They're like, are you sure? You said any pair.
Yeah, and some kids are like, I want Jordans, I don't want these other ones. And I'm like, that's cool, get them. So.
That's funny. And so you have the back to school.
Yep.
And then what are the other ones?
So the other big ones are the Sparta Christmas Crusade, and that's where we take nominated kids, and they get $200 to $300 depending on that year. To buy whatever their little hearts desire. And then on Christmas Eve, we organize a group of fighters and friends, and we go down and we buy 200 to 300 hot meals, and we just personally go out and hand them out and hand out handshakes and hugs to the homeless. And I tell people that 95% of the people are definitely down there because of personal choices and decisions, but some people are truly just down there because they went through a tough break in life, and for us, it's like everybody's gone through something in their life. We're not there to judge them. Sometimes they just want to have a handshake and a hot meal and a conversation to feel human again.
Yeah, and that's so true. We were actually talking about this the other day about how just that human connection, sometimes people, they're not there, like they don't want to like have you give them advice per se. They just want someone to listen, just someone to hang out, like not even talk about their problem, but just knowing that they have someone there to be there with them.
Yeah, and I guess not everybody, because I don't know everybody, but I know for myself, like, we went through a lot of struggles in my childhood and a lot of dark times in my life, and what I remembered is the people that were just kind to me that didn't have to be. Like I had a friend, David, that I grew up with, and he was adopted by a family from Arkansas, and they were just good to me. They didn't have to be. They would always take me out to eat with them and take me to the mall with them and always made me feel included. They'd come to my baseball practices and and things like that. And so it's like you don't realize like what small acts of kindness can do to improve somebody's life. And it doesn't always have to be monetary, right? Like a lot of people are like, well, I don't have the money to donate. Like honestly, sometimes just spending the time with somebody, mowing their lawn, like taking out their trash. I mean, small things like that can really change somebody's life and perspective on, on how things are maybe not going well for them right now, that somebody still cares.
Yeah. And so, you talked about the people that have impacted your life. And so what are some of those lessons or some of those things that have like always stuck with you that, you implement in what you do now?
Oh God, my sister's my hero, right? Like my sister is like my biggest hero in life. She's my inspiration. She's older than me, but she showed me the foundation for life and always believe in your dreams, and she always supported my dreams. She overcame a very tragic event when she was young. She lost the love of her life when she was very young, and then on her 40th birthday, she got diagnosed with cancer. And the whole time just always went through it, just being like, hey, I got to tell you something, I got cancer, but don't worry, we're going to beat it. And it's going to be nothing. She just always has been a role model in my life. She's the one how I learned to give. She has done it for years, and like we do the Easter basket giveaway every year. That was my sister's idea. She's the one that came up with that and wanted to, donate the Easter baskets. And she takes my daughters now, and they do just random acts of kindness where they'll go to Nothing But Bunt Cakes. Yeah. And they buy a bunch of them. They go to an older community and they knock on doors and they give them to the senior citizens. And she just is. She's the one I would say that taught me how to believe in my dreams. One, and two, to like always try to give, make somebody else's life better, even if you're going through a tough time yourself.
Yeah, and you could see that through everything that you do, and you have such a big heart, and I've seen that. I know a lot of people see that know you personally, and just always being able to help, and you always help people's dreams too. Like
That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my God, if I meet an entrepreneur that needs help, like, that is like, I love that. Like, it gives me chills thinking about it, because I remember being that 18-year-old kid, not being able to get a business loan, not knowing anything. Like, I didn't know, my daughter at 9 years old knows what Dun & Bradstreet credit rating is. I didn't know that Dun & Bradstreet was a separate credit rating for business until I was 28 years old.
Yeah.
I was 10 years into my mission at that point. I didn't know what it was. So I like it. I always tell people I don't know everything, but I do have a lot of experience. And, we built this whole thing from nothing, and I've made a lot of failures and mistakes that, I can learn and grow from. And
yeah.
We always just joke and say, is that a red flag over there? Let me charge that head first.
And you're like, yep, I'm headed that way.
Yep, headed there.
And you've always given back to like everybody. I even know, like, for me personally, I remember I ain't a singer, y'all. I think I sing sometimes, but I remember when you, like, that was my dream, right? I was like, oh, I want to sing the national anthem, and this guy was like, come out, and then I was like, oh my God, okay, he said yes. And so just even from a personal experience, knowing that you're always there just to lend a helping hand, like, you're not one of these people that, because I feel like how you said, like, we all started somewhere, like, at the bottom, and a lot of people don't like to help once they get to the top. And I can say you're at the top. Maybe not at the top in your eyes, but, from us that see from the sidelines, like, you're at the top. And so knowing that you're still so humble and just able to just, reach back into your community like you really do.
Well, I think it's important too, and I always share the struggles, because it's important, right? Like, I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. I have mistreated people at certain times of bad points in my life, and those things, they happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't live in the past. You got to grow past it and continue to go. But there was something in me from a very young age that wanted to give back. Like, I remember being a young boy and seeing this man homeless under the bridge, like on right there on like Highway 36 in Pecos.
Yeah.
Saying he was hungry. I made my mom take me to the store, and I bought him, lunch meat and bread, and took it to him. And there was just something in me that has always wanted to help, that part of it. It's always bothered me. I don't like to see other people suffer.
Yeah.
And that is just like, that's been a big pursuit. So like, in success, like, I'm not money driven, but my pursuit for wealth, on the other hand, has always been attached to the purpose of lifting others up.
Yeah.
I know the more successful I become, the more people I can feed, the more people I can help accomplish their dreams along the way.
Yeah, and you do such a good job at that. And I've seen you help tons of people on the way, and just even people from photography to video, and always helping them. And you always push everybody too. Like, you're that person who's like, you're that friend that everybody needs. Like, that friend, I say we always need those friends.
It's a love-hate relationship, though.
But you always need those friends that are going to push you to do better,
For sure. Well, it's important, and I always tell my friends and other people, like, I wouldn't push so hard if I didn't see it in you and didn't believe it was possible. And it's just like, for me, it's like, I'm like, if a guy like me can do it, anybody can do it, right? Like, it's just determination, will, and persistency. Like, I barely got myself through high school because I was a terrible student. I hated it.
Yeah.
I was driven by other things. Business always fascinated me, but I would just, like, literally mentally die in class, like, and the teachers, I remember one time the teachers in 7th grade, they literally thought that I needed special education. So they gave me a test because they were confused how I could do so well in this subject and completely tank in this. But what I was doing is I would just go through and guess, like, because it was fun to me, like, right or wrong on the stuff I wasn't interested in. And thankfully I met a teacher in middle school, Mr. Scott, who's very entrepreneurial minded, and we connected over baseball cards. And he, like, taught me a lot about it, and it was just like, he's like, this guy doesn't need special education, he needs stuff that triggers him and gets him going. And I was really thankful for that relationship. It taught me a lot, and got me over the hump. But I'd never done well in school unless it was something that really fascinated me.
Yeah.
I'm not a school book. I'm just not a. But it's funny. In 2020, I started reading books, and I read more books in 2020 than I read my entire life.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so what are your favorite books? Because I'm a reader. I love to read,
Yep.
so I'm constantly reading. I probably read like 2 to 3 books a week. Like,
That's crazy. Those are goals for me right there.
I'm like, I just love reading. I
Yeah.
love taking a lot in, like just
Yep.
learning stuff, seeing different perspectives, and then also like, you know, depending on what you're reading,
Sure.
like it builds a lot in you too.
Yeah, it really does. So multiple books, mostly self-help, motivation, leadership books. I like John Maxwell, The 21 Rules of Leadership.
Yeah.
A lot of his books are really good. I read a lot of Tony Robbins, and I also follow a gentleman named Ray Dalio, who is like the unicorn of investing. Him and Warren
Yeah.
Buffett are like considered like the best investors of all time. So I like to read stuff like that, and you know, over the last couple of years, I've actually got into, or the last year, I've gotten into Joel Osteen too.
Yeah.
You know, spiritual and very motivation, and that's been really good for me too, because growing up, I was raised Catholic, and it gave me a lot of reason to lose my faith, right?
Yeah.
And so I didn't have a lot of faith, and you know, growing up, I just never like had that relationship with God. Didn't even really think about it much, and then you know, in 2019 and 2020, I felt like my life was really getting blessed and all these great things were happening, but I still felt like something was missing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. So I was talking to my mother-in-law, and she's like, she's got a great relationship with God, and she's like, hey, you know what, like, do this for yourself, because I'd never been a fan of people pushing it on me.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
people had always been like, oh, you need to thank God for this because you have this, and I would just be like, I don't like that. I don't like people pushing it on me, but I felt like something was missing in my life.
Yeah.
And so I created a relationship with God for myself, and it was a game changer, you know. And my mother-in-law listens to a lot of Joel Osteen books and stuff, and so, you know, I like his message, and I like the books.
Yeah.
And you know, David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, the Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
That book was incredibly powerful for me too, because I really, really like that.
Yeah.
And one of my all-time favorites for any bookworms out there that are looking for motivation is Relentless. It's by this guy named Tim Grover, and he was the personal trainer of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade. But what's incredible about this book is he talks about what made them, in his word, cleaners. Like,
Yeah.
you have closers, cleaners, and greats, but cleaners are like the elite level. And he, you know, he'd always say Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, these guys were unmatched in their work ethic, their motivation, their hunger for more. Tom Brady,
Yeah.
right? Great example. Here's a guy with millions of dollars in the bank, you know, beautiful family, no wants at all, other than the fact he's competitive and wants to win,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He wants to win. And there's a guy driven by legacy. 7 Super Bowls isn't enough. He wants more and more and more.
Yeah.
And so Tim Grover just talks about, you know, how he believes in his book that, you know, LeBron James is a great player, but he's not a cleaner. Kind of a crybaby in essence from him. And then he talks about, you know, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Dwayne Wade, how they're just on this other level.
Yeah.
So it's just an incredible book because it talks about like what separates people on mindsets. Like you truthfully get an in-depth look at like what makes somebody great versus like somebody that's the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's such a like delineation between that as well, like knowing that and when you see it, and it's so good. And speaking of books, I have a book you'll have to read, which is really good. It's called Multiply by John Bevere.
Oh, I've actually heard about that book.
It's super good, and I think you would benefit like a lot off of it because you're a giver, you're a server. Yeah. So I think you would totally just. It'd be a match.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been big on meditation and affirmations every single morning, and so I actually turned my master bedroom wall into a vision board.
Yeah.
And so I have 21 I am affirmations right down the center, and then on the right side I have business goals, and on the left side I have personal and family goals.
Yeah.
And that's been a big. It's just an impact for me. I see it before I go to bed, and I see it right when I wake up in the morning, you know, and I'm just like. I am affirmations. It's crazy for a lot of people to sit there and say I am amazing, but it's just like you really like I am are two of the most powerful words because what comes after it can truthfully change your life. I'm not enough. People believe that. If you believe you are enough and you are successful, you're going to go out there and you're going to win your day, you know?
Yeah, and it's so good that you said that because we actually, there's like a group of us, like our friends and stuff like that, but we actually have stuff like written on our like bathroom, you know, windows, like stuff like that, so then you see it every morning and you're like, you know, like you said, like certain things that like I'm good enough or like just the things that you know personally hit you.
Yeah, I am winning my days, one of my favorite because like you're just having... You know, yesterday in business was one of those days where you're just like, some days you're the hammer and some days you're the nail. And I literally just had to walk out and like read this 10 times. I'm like, I am winning my day. This is not going to affect it.
Yeah.
Because as we've grown more and have these businesses and have employees and all these people, can't control them all and can't control what's going to happen. So you just have to you know, I just have to deal with it. Some days are good and some days are learning lessons.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I always tell people, even on my posts, I'm always like, win the day. Like,
Yeah.
Everybody win the day. And
Yeah.
like, even at work, I'm like, no, win the day.
Yeah, I have a painting on my wall that says, be effing great.
Yeah.
Without the bleep in there. And on my way out the door, I just touch it every day. Like, remember this, you know, remember this. It's,
Yeah.
You know, it's just something small, but those are things that work for me. And,
Yeah.
You know, meditation and affirmations are a big thing. And then I went from doing yearly goals to quarterly goals to monthly goals to everyday goals. So
Yes.
every day I write my goals for the day. And I've never hit them all in one day, but I think that there's purpose behind that, right? It keeps me
Yeah.
striving for the next day.
Well, and then there's always, you know, like it's scriptural too, but write the vision and make it plain. You know,
Yeah.
like when you see something, you're constantly looking at that and being able to see, like, okay, I've gotten this far, or I've gotten this done,
Yeah.
or like, have you checked it off yet? Like,
Yep.
you know, and all that stuff.
Yeah, goals and vision boards are huge for me. I was talking to a friend, like one of my biggest dreams in life was to buy my sister her dream car
Yeah.
for her 50th birthday. And her dream car was a 1968 Camaro, but she wanted it to be purple. And I found one, and then the deal just didn't work out, and I was kind of crushed.
Yeah.
And I was driving to take my sister to gymnastics, and I had an alert on my phone, and I saw on Facebook Marketplace a lady was selling a beautiful 1968 Camaro, completely done, but it was black. So I called her, it was available, and ironically, she had bought the car on the date that was my sister's birthday 2 years prior.
Oh, wow.
And got it fully restored and customed, and so we went up there and I bought it, and then I had it wrapped in purple for her, and I gave it to her. And that was something that had been on my vision board for years. So like to be able to like make that come true was like one of
Yeah.
the best feelings of my life ever.
Yeah, and one of the things, you know, I don't know if you know who Pastor Michael Todd is, but he's this pastor. But one of the things that I love that he says is like, it's always crazy until it happens.
It's true. It always seems impossible until somebody does it.
Yeah.
And I think Nelson Mandela says that. But it's crazy though, because you look at it and you're like, you know, I remember it was September 2013, or like it was July 2013, and we were at Pepsi Center. I mean, the top of the row,
Yeah.
top of the can, and we were watching UFC. It was Benson Henderson and Frankie Edgar, and I was looking down, and I told Becca and two friends that were with us at the time, I was like, Sparta's going to do an event here. This is
Yeah.
going to happen. And then, you know, June 30th, 2018, I remember standing in the center of Pepsi Center in the cage with my daughters and Becca, and just kind of looking around. And to be honest, it was just overwhelming. It didn't hit me until months later, and I was
Yeah.
like, holy crap, we did Pepsi Center, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have a moment where you're just like, okay, this is awesome, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, I don't never want to sit, you can't sit in success at all, because like rent is due every day.
Yeah.
You know, it's about consistency, and you know, who cares if you won one time? You got to continue to win over and over and over.
Yeah, and it's so awesome that you say that though too, because I remember you posting that on Facebook a long time ago, and you're like, we're gonna be at Pepsi Center.
Yeah.
And then to see it, like,
Yeah.
it's so amazing, because even like a person from the outside, not just you,
Yeah.
like knowing your feelings and that, but even like a person from the outside seeing that,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, like, you know, I need to have crazy dreams like that,
Yeah.
and be able to hit those goals that I have set in my mind.
Yeah, it's so, and that's something. And most importantly, like what I'll take from that is showing my daughters them, and you know, like it makes me so proud when like Rosalind's like, Dad, you remember when we stood in Pepsi Center cage and we took this picture? And you know, I remember Auntie showed us the video when you guys did your show in Las Vegas, and you know, and Penny's like, I want to go to Vegas. Who's Vegas going? So
you're like round two.
Yeah. So it's cool, and you know, you think that I remember being young, and you know, thinking that success meant, you know, cars and money and houses and watches and all these things. And as you get older, it's okay to have those things, but you realize those mean nothing. They mean nothing.
Yeah.
Every time like there was something material involved, it just kind of wears off, and you're like, well, that was cool, but doing something for somebody else, that is like amazing. That's the most amazing feeling in the world, to see somebody else's dream come true, and you know, like to do that for my sister was, you know, unbelievable. Or you know, just being able to do it for anybody, you know, it's like, it's just it's the greatest feeling in the world to see that you know, you were able to help somebody. I had people that gave me opportunities, to be honest, I didn't deserve, and I would just be like, why did you do that? You know, like I had this man come into my life in my early 20s, and this is kind of a cool story, but we had a supplement company. We were growing so fast, we were out of money.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to get an investor, and somebody connected me with this guy, and he had another guy with him that day. They were actually cops, and so they were like off duty at the time.
Yeah.
And I gave him the whole pitch, and we were like days from going out of business. And he calls me the next day, and the guy's like, I'm not really interested, sorry. And I'm like, shit, so what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, I got a call from the other guy that was just overhearing it, and he's like, hey, I hope you don't mind. I got your number from Chris. I was wondering if I could, if you could come give me and my wife that same speech, and presentation. I was like, sure. I went over there and did it, and they invested. And it like got us over the hump, and it was a huge win for them and for us.
Yeah.
And all these years later, we're still very close friends. And I said, why did you do it? And he said, you know what, honestly, like in 20 years in law enforcement, I pride myself on character and work ethic. And he's like, I liked the horse I was betting on.
Yeah.
He's like, I just knew I had to bet on you. And I'm just like, this guy had no rhyme or reason. Didn't know me, didn't know if I could take his money and burn it or not,
Yeah.
And he gave me the opportunity. And so we like to return those favors now too. So, we've been investing in some other small businesses and, doing investments in consulting, which has a huge spot in my heart because, we started the first business, the supplement company, with $100, and then we started Sparta with $500. We actually needed $1,500, but I only had $500, so we sold off a bunch of stuff, and then I actually collected cans for the last $125 that we needed.
Yeah.
To get it going.
Yeah, and that's
So.
motivation.
I couldn't do it again.
You're like, are you sure? No.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that you appreciate it more and you give it more hunger, and because I've seen people get big infusions of cash and burn it up.
Yeah.
Especially in entertainment. I mean, you want to donate your money and burn money, go start a promotion, do a concert, do a flight, and watch how quick it burns.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And so it's awesome to see like everything that you're doing. And so, do you plan on having, and I know you're going international, like how big is Sparta?
What's the vision?
Yeah, what's the vision?
This is exciting. I have so much passion for it, as you know. So the vision for us is to continue to grow, and we want to be a global digital media marketing company. I want to eventually one day own thousands of companies. I want to have my hand in thousands of companies and thousands of industries. And part of my morning prayer and affirmation is that I want to build a million, billion, $1 trillion company that makes millions, billions, and trillions of dollars and helps millions, billions, and trillions of people and leaves a legacy for the work we do in the communities that we serve.
Yeah.
So it's endless. A big dream of mine as well is I want to own my own auto group. I want to own a Chevy dealership, a Dodge dealership. In a Toyota dealership, and I'd like them all to be like in an autoplex like you see.
Yeah.
And so it's been amazing for me working in automotive. I meet these guys that own these auto groups, of like 20 dealerships and 200 dealerships, and they've been very genuine and kind to me and allowing me to, they're teaching me of like what I would need to know to do this.
Yeah, there's a really good book called The Lean Machine. And it talks about like Toyota and like how they started up and like Chevy and everything.
Yep.
I mean, it's an older book, but like they've updated it a little, but it's really cool to see like the process of automotive and where it's come and where it's at.
Have you ever seen the Titans That Built America? It's on history.
No.
And so it talks about the history of like Reese's, the company Reese's, and Swanson Food, and the Dodge brothers who started Dodge, and the Chrysler guy that started Chrysler, and Henry Ford, and and the Boeing guy. That stuff's just incredible to me because you talk about lack of resources then was way less, right?
Yeah.
And so now these phones right here, this is you could run. I know guys that run 7-figure a year businesses with this stuff.
Yeah.
From a phone.
Yeah, it's crazy, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Yeah.
And it's everything is at the palm of your hands, and I think it's so cool because you could use everything to its advantage if you really wanted to.
Well, opportunity in lies, when we were going through COVID, it really broke my heart to see people losing businesses and losing their mental sanity and just a lot of things that went over. From the flip perspective, in automotive especially, there's a gentleman specifically, and out of respect, he just never wants to be named, but this guy is a titan in the automotive industry, and in 2007, when everything was crashing and going down, this guy built an empire in automotive by buying and stepping up his game and everything that he was doing. And so there's opportunity that lies in moments like that. Massive opportunity. you know, but you have to sit back and evaluate and have a strategy for how you're going to do it and stick to it. Even when it doesn't seem like it's going well, you have to continue to go. And so, we were really blessed during those times.
Consistency, too, and being just, you know, on it and everything. And I like how you said that because we had a conversation about that once a while back, like during COVID. Like, you're going to see the people who are really pushing and rising out with their businesses when it kind of ends, and this is kind of like the ending of the pandemic. And you're going to see the people who actually, like, just sat back and didn't do anything.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who's super successful, and he said, watch, he's like, monster companies are being built right now, 2020. And people won't know about this until 5 years down the road when the stories come out of, like, what happened during COVID and how these guys, you know, capitalized on it. But it's absolutely, I mean, if you want it bad enough, it's there.
Yeah, and you just got to work hard for it because a lot of people, you know, they always see, and we always talk about this, like with everything, but always everybody sees the highlight reels, you know, no one's seeing like the blood, sweat, tears.
Yeah, people see public glory, but never the private struggle.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of my favorite stories that I always share, and, you know, I tell people because it's real, we believed in Sparta so much that we literally did not get paid for 3 years. We lived on our credit cards, we lived on our savings until it was completely gone, and we even sold our house at the time because we believed in what we were doing, and I knew it would turn.
Yeah.
I struggled with it more than Becca did when it came to that time because I was just like, this is, you know, oh my gosh, like all our memories are here. But then, you know, she's just like, we'll get a different one, and a bigger one, and things will be better. And I'm like, yep, you're right, we did it. And so, like, people don't see that part. They see, like, you know, if you have these material things or whatever, that you're just lucky, and it's just like, the struggle is real. I mean, 3 years went by pretty quick, except for the past, you know, the last 12 months of it was just like, you know, you seen your credit cards are completely racked up and savings is completely drained, and you're just like, you question yourself and you're like, are we doing the right thing here? You know, is this right? But, you know, if you believe in it, you have passion for it, and you absolutely love it, you will overcome that.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get to the pinch me moments where you're like, is this really happening? You know, this is crazy right now. Like, I can't believe this is happening.
And then it's super exciting because you're like, we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
And we're still going.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, what else can we do now? You know?
And then you get to throw the big ideas out to your team. And then they get to, you know.
They're enablers, though. I come up with crazy stuff, and they make it happen. So I'm always like, you know.
So last time we promised you a Starbucks, Jesse. So we're gonna get that to you.
You don't need it.
Oh, okay, well, you heard it from him, not me. He said you don't need it.
He's in trouble right now.
And so, you know, for our entrepreneurs out there, business people, you know, just you have a whole lot going on. You're a man of many trades. What is, you know, something that you would want to inspire people or tell them, you know, like coming up in the business or being an entrepreneur, being a fighter, what are those, you know, key suggestions you would give?
Yeah, I mean, just life in general, right? Like, whatever you're going to do, you have to love it. You absolutely have to love it. And it goes back to the time of 3 years without being paid at all, right? Like, if you don't love it, you're going to quit and do something else. So, like, you know, for the fighters that, you know, make it to UFC, like a Justin Gaethje and a Corey Sandhagen, very minimal percentage of those guys, right? But they sacrificed and dedicated their whole life, even though they're extremely talented. They went over those hurdles and those tough moments where it didn't look possible. So the most important thing in pursuing dreams at all, you have to love it. You have to. If you're getting into business to make money, it won't last. Even if you have a quick home run, it won't last. Like, sustainability is driven by passion.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you know, for all of yous out there, you know, Jeff is very open. So if you ever have questions, you know, don't be bugging him like 24/7.
Like Melissa
that's
does.
Coming from me. Like, hey, can I ask you this again? But you know, it's one thing that he just loves to give back to his community. He's such a great guy, and you know, you get to see everything that he's done, and it's just amazing. And just all the people that you help along the way. One thing I love is that you do serve the community, and people see that. I see that, you know, and it's not just the talk. You actually walk the walk. You know.
You know, it's important. I believe anybody that has any form of success owes it to their community to give back.
Yeah.
You know, in some way, some shape, some form. You know, people are just kind people. I have this neighbor that lives across the street from us, and he's a great guy. He's always inviting the girls to come over and swim, and and they got this like awesome, like he turned his backyard into like an amusement park for his daughter, so it's like really cool. And I'm not home a lot, and I'll get home sometimes and he's out there mowing my lawn. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have to do this. But just like, he's just a genuine kind person,
Yeah.
And it's just like, he has no reason to come over and mow my lawn, but he does it every week.
That's awesome.
It's kind of spoiled me, so I'm like, hey Jeff, my lawn needs mowed because his name's Jeff too. I'm like,
So then if you ever move again,
I know.
You're going to have to take him with you.
I know, for real.
And be like, we're moving here. Would you like to sell your house?
Yeah. Well, it's exciting because we're moving the family to California. And so we're moving to Temecula, California. But all the businesses are still going to be hubbed here.
Yeah.
And I'll just come back for business 10 days a month. And, we got a really good team we're building here. And there's more opportunity in California and Las Vegas that we do. So I need to be closer to those opportunities as well. Plus, that California weather has been a dream for a long time during the winter.
Yes, I always say that. Everybody who knows me knows I'm like, one day I'm going to head to California.
Yeah.
I will be there.
I hate the politics of it, but I absolutely love the weather.
Yeah,
so
just the surroundings, I love it too. Yeah. So that's exciting,
Yes.
and that's something new happening and going. We got a little, exclusive here.
Yeah, I know, I'm excited about it, so.
Super exciting. Well, thank you so much for coming on again. And share, do you have other events, other things lined up besides AVM?
Yeah, everything is on SpartaSE.com for our event side, and then for the media group, for the vehicle stuff, everything's on SpartaMG.com, and then social media. Pretty much everything's on. We got so much stuff going on right now.
Yeah, so, and then you guys also do, because I know people always ask about shirts, stuff, everything. Screen
printing, embroidery, banners, vehicle wraps, window tint, clear mask. I mean, what we ended up doing is I went into dealerships and I saw everything they were doing, but I saw they were doing it through 10 companies.
Yeah.
And I was like, we own all this stuff. We could be doing this for you. And it's worked out really well. So that's where we started the consulting company, so we help with sales and marketing and building plans for them and video content creation, and then, streamlining their system so that they can get, merchandise and, banners and business cards and all that stuff a lot faster.
Yeah, and so if you need a guy, because I know a lot of you guys are always asking for wraps, for especially merchandise for their businesses and stuff like that. Jeff is the man. They can get you hooked up with anything. Anything you need. You need a commercial.
I'm like that guy, right? The original trunk hustler. When my first supplement company, I'd pull up to the gym and I'd pop the trunk and I would sell supplements that way. So I started that business. So.
And so now he will just pull open the truck and
a van, open the door.
You need a fighter, here he is.
Fathers with daughters, you need somebody to escort your daughter to prom to make sure they act right. We have it.
He has it all. So it's all there, one-stop shop. That's all you need to go to. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And, before we head out, I want to ask if you have anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about on here and share.
Oh, no. I've had a Red Bull today, so I will sit here for 3 hours and just be nonstop. But
you can be nonstop.
Yeah, no, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to continue to share my story. You've been so good to me, so I thank you so much, Melissa. And that's it. I got to get back out to a couple meetings and finish a long Friday night, but doing what I love, so I'm blessed.
Yes, and so, we want to get you out there, and I'm always grateful to have you in the studio, and hopefully one day, I'll be out there in California to interview you there.
Yeah,
and all the great stuff you have going on. And so thank you guys, as always, for tuning in to KUHS Radio, all of you on the airline. So those of you even on the airwaves right now, your man's heading out to California, so he's going to be global. This is global station, so get connected, and we're going to have everything linked up so you can check out all the events. You can get there for AVM, you can get there for the concerts, and just everything that they have going on, for all the donations and everything that they take, for all the amazing stuff they do in the community. If you want to get involved or help out, there's always parts that you can participate in. And so we're going to link everything in the video for you so you can get connected with Jeff and all of his companies. And so, thank you again for tuning in wherever you're at, all over the world, here on Ignite with Melissa. And before we head out, I just want to remind you, like I always do, if no one has told you today, I want to remind you that you have purpose, you are loved, and you belong. So your man signing out.
Thanks, guys.
And your girl signing out here on KUHSDenver.com, the stream. Love, peace, and God bless y'all.